Welcome to Biblical Greek. In this short lesson, we're going to focus on parsing. What is parsing? Now, if you're not familiar with languages, if you haven't taken biblical languages before and you come across the word parse, or you hear the instructor or the professor say to you, I want you to parse that verb. It can be very daunting if you do not know what parsing is. Of course, you can Google it and figure it out, but here's a short lesson to help you that you can watch again and again in case you ever get overwhelmed and wonder, I don't know what I'm doing. What is parsing? Well, parsing is very simple. It is telling everything that you can about a word as it's functioning in that sentence. So it is different for a noun, pronoun, and a verb, and also different for a participle, but that's a little different. We're going to come to that later. But let's say the word is a noun like, he gave it to the women. Let's say we want to parse women. First thing we know is that it's feminine. That noun is feminine. It's a noun, of course. What else do we know about that word? It's plural. It's not that he gave it to the woman, he gave it to the women. So it's feminine, plural. And then, how is it functioning in the sentence? To the women. Remember, 204 is a dative. Okay? So it's feminine, plural, dative, noun. So that's how you parse a noun. But how about if it's a pronoun, say, he gave it to them? So let's remove this here. He gave it to them. How would you parse them? That's a pronoun, of course. It's not a noun, it's a pronoun. First thing we know is that it's third person. What is first person? First person pronoun would be I, singular, or we, plural. Second person would be you, singular, or you all, or y'all, plural. So them is third person plural because third person singular would be he, she, it. And third person plural would be they, them. So first thing we know is that this is third person. What else do we know about this noun, this pronoun? Is that it is, another thing is plural, as I mentioned. It is also feminine. He gave it to them. And finally, keep in mind it is to them. 204, any word is a dative. So it's third person, plural, feminine, dative. That's how you parse that word if it's a pronoun. Now keep in mind we're only focusing on English examples because the better we understand English examples, the better we can then handle the Greek examples, the Greek parsings. How about if this is a verb? We looked at noun and then we focused on the pronoun. What if this is a verb? Let's take the sentence, he gave it to the women. Again, he gave it to the women. And let's say we're focusing on the verb gave. How would you parse it? Well, if you think about it, gave is third person. How do we know third person? Because the pronoun here is he, which is in the third person, so definitely the verb is also carrying the same person. So first thing we know about it is that it's in the third person. You can write like this if you like. Third person. Is it singular? Is it plural? It is singular. How do we know it's singular? Because he gave. It's not they gave to the women. If it was functioning like that, then we would have a different parsing. Now keep in mind, when you go to Greek, you don't need a he because the word by itself will give you all the information. In English, you have several words coming together to help us understand what that one word means. Because without that, if this wasn't there, it could be she gave, but here it's he. Or they gave, but here it is he. All right, so third person, singular. What else can we say about the verb gave or he gave? We know that it's third person, it's singular. Gave, it's past tense. So let's put that down, past. What else can we say about it? It's a declaration, so it is indicative. Past tense, indicative. And then, indicative would be the mood. What is the voice? He gave it to the women. It's not passive. It wasn't given to him. He gave it. So as voice, it would be active voice or just active. So third person, singular, past, indicative, active. Now, keep this in mind. In the last example, when I was talking about the pronoun, he gave it to them. I said them is feminine. It is all based in the context that the them is about the women. That pronoun is referring to the noun women. So keep that in mind. That's the only reason why I said them is feminine in the last example, last parsing of the pronoun them. But here, this is the parsing for the verb. So hopefully this lesson will give you some help when you come to the Greek sentences and when you're asked to parse a verb or a noun or a pronoun, then you will know how to do it. There's also participle, and the participles are a little different, and we're going to cover that under that subject heading later on.